Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is our monthly free Q&A called Ask the Sensei. We are excited to have as our guest sensei today my dear friend and longtime colleague, Jay Preston, who is just one of the most mm,
Choose
generous
your
and
words wisely.
generous and powerful souls in voiceover. A real anchor in the community and someone who um, at the same time holds the collective in his heart and walks to the beat of his own drum as well, which I think is a powerful, wonderful combination. So we'll have Jay introduce yourself in a second, but the way that this works is we'd love to have you guys introduce yourselves in the chat, say where you are, and we'd love to hear where you are at where you're at in your journey, which allows us to kind of gauge how we answer your questions. And then if you have questions, not if, hopefully you will, because it's Q&A. We can't A if there's no Q's. So put your questions in the chat, and then we also have Kelsey V is here facilitating our call, and Jeffrey Gilbank is our talent support. So they are here to support and guide and help us. So put them in the chat, and then Kelsey will call you in so we can hear your voice and your questions, and we'll answer as many questions as we can up to 11 o'clock. If there's a few more, we might be able to do a little extended dance mix, but we will definitely go to 11. So yay, let's get started. So Jay, welcome. It
Thank
was
you.
great to reconnect with you with 21 questions. Hopefully people got to listen to the 21 questions, Dojo 21 questions interview. But tell us a little bit about yourself and yeah.
Sure. Super quick is that I grew up on the stage in New England, went to all the colleges to do theater and stuff like that, and I did well in New England. I learned how to become a big fish in a little pond. I didn't know what that meant until I moved to California, of course. And then, like all actors who grew up on the stage, I was like, I'm going to be in the movies. So like I auditioned for Pirates of the Caribbean while I still was in Boston. And I was actually at one point an actual working actor in Boston, which was great. I worked at this place called the Medieval Manor. And I worked there for a couple of years. Any Bostonites remember the Medieval Manor? But then I got a gig at in Pirates of the Caribbean 3 and one of Keith Richards' pirates on his boat. And that was I didn't even live here then, but that was like my first like, hello, welcome to California. You're in Pirates of the Caribbean 3 and you're on set at Disney Studios and you get to meet Johnny Depp. And I was like, sign me up. So I moved immediately. And then I realized the harsh reality of Hollywood Catch 26. So 5 or 6 years later, I got very jaded in the on-camera world and I was about to leave. And then I found voiceover by accident and fell back in love. My fire got burned up again. And I, w- long story short, if you watch the thing, like at one point somebody said, "You are a great actor. You are awful at voiceover." So it took me 3 years to like learn how to get good at voiceover and figure out what I was doing wrong. After 3 years, I got my first agent. And the rest is history. Finally quit my jobs, and all I did was voiceover. I've been doing VO for I want to say since 2006, full time, which is pretty great.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. And you also have created the Voiceover Collective, and you work with Tim Friedlander with the Voiceover Resource Guide. What other good things are you?
Yeah, along the journey of my voiceover journey is like I was really bad with names, horrible with remembering who people were that I met, but I was great at faces. So I was like, I need to remember these people I was doing workshops with. So I went and created the VoiceOver Collective on Facebook, and it was a private group where I just would invite people I had met in a workshop, and that kind of grew from 10 to 50 to like way too many people. And we had a blast for many years. It inspired me to create the website because I kept getting asked, as everyone does when you find some form of success, people are like, how do I do that? I want to do that. So like after months of just taking, people would take me out for wine or something, and then I would tell them the same story. And then I was like, I'm just going to build a website. So I built a website, and everything I'd ever tell people I would just put on that website. And then I would just send people there. And I would say, if you still have questions after you go through this extensive website, happy to take me out for wine and I'll answer more
Mm.
questions. But mostly what I found is everyone goes there, learns what they want, or realizes this is too much stuff. I don't want to be a voice actor. And so it's helped out. So the voiceovercollective.com is where that all started. Tim took it over with his group called the Gardner Collective. Well, it was called the Gardner Street Workout Group, and I had the voiceover collective, and now it's called the Gardner Collective. And that's Tim's social media group and stuff like that. Now I have kind of been off social media for 2 years, which is crazy because I actually taught it once. Um,
Mhm.
and then and then through that we created the VO weekly workouts because they're super awesome and they're $20 at a pop and you can get to be in front of a lot of people. And then through after that we I got an offer to take over the voiceover resource guide, which has been around since 1988. And I took it over because of the VoiceOver Collective website. The guy who had it, found the VoiceOver Collective website and was like, I kind of want the VORG to be as good as this is. So we took it over, we rebuilt it from the ground up, and this is our third publication that just went out. Um, kind of through it all, Tim created NAVA. It's like a vision
Mhm.
we always had of like a group of um, actors and professionals putting together something to guide the communities the right way and, do it faster than, I mean, I don't have anything against SAG. We love the union, but
Mhm.
Nava can get things done faster and more, it's just great. So he created that. I'm
That-
on the board there. And
That's
then
the
my,
National Association of Voice Actors, if you're not familiar with what NAVA is. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I talk way. And
Yeah.
then when I fell in love with my wonderful wife, we fell in love with puns and things like that. So she was an on-camera actor and really good at what she did. And then she had like 3 or 4 other jobs when we met. But I already had the studio. I was already working voice actor, so I just kept putting her in the booth. And after a little bit of time, all my agents signed her, and then she quit her jobs. Now she makes more than me. And that's called The Booth of Us. Because I was like, we should do this together. And she's like The Booth of Us. First thing off her top of her mind. I was like, let me see if it's available. It was. So I created
It's
the website
true.
and all that. It's pretty adorable. And
Yeah.
that's worked out pretty good. And that's me.
Yeah, cool. And love, love, love Jay and Tim's origin stories. They met at a fight club. So yeah, it's all good. So
We
yay.
did. The thing that
Excellent.
pretty much started it all was I was just going around all of Hollywood and California doing as much VO classes as I possibly could. I think that's important to be around actor. And one of my favorite places to go is the VO dojo and, watch people work who were better than me. And then we get in front of those people and we were sitting waiting to go into the microphone room. And there's Tim behind me and he's got this big, deep voice and he's tall. And we just became friends immediately. And like everything kind of blossomed out of that friendship for the last, decade.
Yeah, yeah. It's powerful. It's powerful when we come together. So good, good, good. Well, excellent. There's more of our interview if you want to know more about Jay in the 21 questions. But let's get to your questions. Let's see. Kelsey, what questions do we have?
Okay, our first question is from Zoe. Come on up, Zoe,
Hello.
with the cool
Hey,
hair.
Zoe.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Um,
Hi, I'm Zoe. It's so nice to be here today. I'm very excited. And my question is, what are your tips for standing out as a voice actor in the video game category?
standing it. Well, in the video game category, my tips are always like take some workshops and classes with the people who are making the casting decisions in the video game industry. If you see anybody who casts games or has cast games or are still casting games and they have like a workshop or a VO dojo thing or like just get in front of them. Like it's the best way I could tell you to, because then they'll start to hear your voice, start to feel your personality. You get to have little all the video game directors and casting directors have different things they look for and listen for. So it's like without knowing what those are, it's really hard to stand out. So like now when you get an audition from Jamie Boffice or something, it's like now I know what to do with that, you know, or if you get one from um, Bianco casting, you know, the Help Network and stuff like that, I kind of know what they're looking for. So I would just do that more as far as just auditioning. Put more of you into the character than you think.
Mhm.
The more of you that can shine through any character you decide to make is like gold, especially in video games these days because it's all cinematic more. Um, yeah, and not that, you know, crazy voices aren't awesome, but like if you can add a little bit more you into every character, once these casting directors see you and stuff like that, they'll kind of feel it. They'll know. And that's what you can start to like market as your character. You know, I have got some fun characters that I've done that you you hear them and you're like, it's that's Jay, you know, because you just know that it's my mostly my voice, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, and lead with you. A lot of people getting into video games like I want to do video games, so I do all these voices. Lead with you first. Get what you do best down really tight, you
Yeah.
know, before you venture off into characters.
And I think also it's really important with whichever genre you're exploring to know what the heart of that genre is. So at the dojo, we talk about the heart of video games being inhabit the world fully, like you are in the movie. So if you aren't a gamer or if you're gamer adjacent, to understand, to have a sensibility of what it is that a game is about and what it feels like to be. And I think that is something that makes you more competitive if you understand the world and the differences between video, production companies, who are the companies that are making it, what are the styles of that they're looking for. And in the similar vein of what Jay's saying, oh, I know what this casting director likes. I know what these games are kind of like, is really good. And then just being able to be in those, the variation. How specific can you be about being in the variation from the most mundane thing, like being able to calibrate, like, oh, hey Jay, I like your hat. Come on, let's get on the bus. To being shot by aliens, engulfed in flames, dying, and then coming back to life, right? Like those are the extremes that you might go to in a video game audition. So how can you do that authentically in the moment, keep it specific? And as I think, as Jay said, that so much more video games is cinematic. Right? I just had a PCAP for Jamie audition, and I went and filmed it with friends who did, like a whole, like as if it were an on-camera audition. Um, so knowing what that, and it really is like be in the movie, and go for it. I think that's another thing. Go for it. And that doesn't mean just being loud. That means if your kid is being killed, then like what would really happen if your kid was being killed? Yeah. And yourself, not the idea of what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Thank
Cool.
you. I really appreciate those answers. Thank you.
Yeah. Are you a gamer, Zoe?
I am a huge gamer.
Great, great, great. Then you're ahead of the game. Pun. Jay appreciate the
So
pun.
glad
Yeah.
it was all worth it. I knew it.
Yeah. And if
Also,
you love
Zoe,
it, yeah.
I grew up as a gamer, still a gamer. So like when I found out voiceover was a thing I could go do, I
Mhm.
started repeating everything that I was hearing in the game. So it's like I'm playing Call of Duty all the time and I'm like just repeating what I hear. And
Mhm.
that's a great way to like practice, you know? And you can write
Absolutely.
all that shit off now. So all of your games and stuff like that, you could just like buy the next Xbox, buy the next PlayStation, write it off because you're just doing research. I, li I
Mhm.
literally, my wife has to hear the game words like grenade, and I go grenade just to say.
I love that. I do very much a lot of those same things. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and I repeat so many of those lines because I love a deep Southern accent.
That's good. Yeah, if you know the world, if you're immersed in the world, you already know the world. And so when you get a script, then you are creating that world,
Have you
right?
found my character in Red Dead 2 yet?
I absolutely have.
You kill him or did you just wrap him again on a horse?
I rode him on a horse.
Nice. Thanks for not.
Yeah. And I almost did the gameplay video for Red Dead because I did it for GTA 5. So I did record it, but then I was replaced. So wow. That's my RDR to claim to fame. Yeah. Cool. Great questions. What else? What other questions do we have, Kelsey?
Come on up, Thomas, with the also cool hair. What is up with this?
Thank you. I am also an individual with theater as my origin. I'm born in Burbank, currently in New York, studying theater, but throughout my studies kind of lost the drive and kind of fell into voiceover because I wanted to connect with something that was close to me, such as video games and animation, because I am also someone who plays video games and have for my entire life. So my question is, when it comes to animation and video games, do you think it's necessary for a voice actor to develop the skill to do voices that are vastly different from their speaking voice? And I'm only a couple months into my voice acting journey. I'm very, very fresh.
Yeah. You're going to want to lead with you, right? You're always going to lead with you. And then you don't have to go crazy with the development of voices, to be completely honest. Like if you're super good at having like 1,000 voices, there are like mimics out there. I consider myself more of a mimic. I can hear something and then I can kind of sound like it. I am not one of those impressionists. I learned that real quick that I'm not. I mean, once you do workshops out in LA, you're like, oh, everyone is way better at these things that I thought I was good at. So you just quickly become humble with that. So it's like you're gonna lead with your voice for the whatever character they give you, and then you're gonna really find characters in the session. Like because you don't know what you're gonna get thrown sometimes when you book. If I book something for a video game, I'm also gonna get like 5 or 6 other characters during these sessions, and I never know what they're gonna be. And in the beginning, that was super stressful. But now it's just like playing. It's like, oh, we're gonna give you man 12. He's 30. He's just in a village, and you just go, okay, well, I was just talking in this voice, so now man 12, and to make him a little younger, and let's talk up here. It's same exact voice. I'm just gonna put it up here, or I'm just gonna bring him down. Well, man 40, I'm gonna bring him down here at 40. It's like I just do the easiest thing, and it works. you know. But yeah, you want to develop. It's more of like the thought process of your characters, right? So like if your one guy was all strong and headstrong and like that was that character, and then the next character, even though you're just bringing up a pitch of voice, maybe he's nervous, maybe you got to it's more about developing not the voice but like the scenario that the character has just came out of, right? So now he's younger, he's a little nervous, and you never know, but it's more about developing those like situational characters, not just the voice. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Yeah, focusing more on the scenario implies the voice, which then leads to it, as opposed to just like, this is how they sound always.
Yeah, perspective too. The time of day, morning. Like if it was the morning, your characters are going to be more like bright awake. If it's the end of the day, the characters are going to be more like just had a long work day, So they get to imbue that stuff into the characters. So you think about yourself all day long and how you talk. Like, luckily we're talking at 10 a.m. So I'm like jobbed off a bunch of coffee. And if it was nighttime, when we did our 21 questions, I was very like laid back because it's the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think that's also understanding the facets of you. When are you strong and brave and true, and when you're like, oh gosh, right? That we all have those. We all have light side of us and dark side of us. So when we have to do the sadistic, like, God, what did he do in Rage 2? It was like a biker chick thing, and like her catchphrase was pig fuckers, and like Jay said, you have to you don't know anything going in. So it's really like the ethic of improv, right? And then how do you, boom, bring someone to life in a couple of lines or a couple of or even like taking generic lines, right? You might just get here's these sets of 5 lines, increasing intensity, and then infuse them. Like all the characters will be cast from that. So it really is imagination and then bringing yourself in all of yourself.
And
And
here's something
and
to
it's just
remember.
Mhm.
Here's something to remember too, to set you at ease and get your nerves out, is that the games nowadays are like so long and so involved that like if anyone plays New World on it, like the Amazon game New World, like I think I'm 50 characters in that game, but I don't have voices.
He's
You know
all
what I
of
mean?
them.
I don't
It's
have 50, but it's like what it is like I'm in the first couple of hours. I'm also in like the 33rd hour, and no one's going to remember that the guy from the first hour is the same, like it's the same voice. I only have like 15-ish voices I can do. So it's like, but those 15 are like throughout a game that is like days and weeks long. So you never have to worry too much. Sometimes it's like, okay, this guy shows up like in a side thing way later, so we can use the same guy you just did. So like the game company will kind of like do that as well, so it helps.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. What are the questions, Kelsey?
All right, the next question is actually my question.
Oh,
So this is kind of a big question. What is your process for raising the stakes in an emotional scene? How do you do it safely, and what is your aftercare? So like, let's say they have you recording one set of lines and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah, we need to go back and, here's this super traumatic line you had to do on Tuesday. And you're like, oh, okay. So you have to like do like a very, tone shift, really big tone shift. How would you do that?
Just like the 180 stuff, like we're
Yeah.
happy, and then this is like 3 scenes later when you're dying, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, acting training, really, I guess. It's like you just have to really put yourself in it, right? You're in a booth in a square, it's kind of awkward. There's a microphone in front of you. You got a director across the thing. You got an engineer who's just like, you got 3 other guys with computers that you can see literally typing, doing other work while you're doing this. It's like, if you think about all that, you'll never get there, right? So you have to like put yourself in the space. So it's like, that's why improv work is like so important if you want to get into video games and animation. It's because you look at Tish is in a box, and like if you are in on stage with no props, you have to, in order to like open a refrigerator, you have to know where the fridge is, know where the table is. You have to envision where the sink is. You have to envision where the drawers are. You have to know what's in those drawers and what's in those drawers, because you got to come back to them. So if I'm going to grab this from here and I'm going to clean it, I'm going to put it back where I got it. Being able to like get yourself in the scene whenever it changes is like really just, it's kind of like doing it over and over again, or acting training. You know what I mean? Like you either just got to fully commit or it just won't sound good.
Yeah. And I think also, so in the same way that if you just got a phone call, Kelsey, that, oh my God, something really fucked up just hold on something really fucked up just happened. Hold on, I'll be right back. Just like when we get news like that, it happens instantly. It's not like, hold on one second, I will think about how to respond. So in the same way, when you put yourself in that moment, then how do you get your access to your emotions that facile that you can go to whatever it is and whatever variation of that character. Our vocal sensei, Faith Rumor, is doing a fantastic workshop. I'm actually taking it right now. That's about emotions and the voice, and like understanding where things are centered in our body and how that connects up with the voice. And it's very illuminating. So that's another way, like oh, if it's, if it's certain motion, where is it coming from in your body? Activate that. Um, you know, um, and it's a really really good class. Like we were just talking about, there's a spectrum that comes from the second chakra that is both anger, rage, and then the other side is like empowerment and stuff. So if you just like I was teasing. I was like, oh, it's like acting from your asshole. Because if you just tighten up your butt and let's see what happens when you collect the energy there, see what happens. And if you bring it like from there, then it goes. Then your body takes over, and your brain's not doing work. Oh man, I am so mad. Oh man, I'm so mad. Right when it comes from that place, which is what happens when that wave of emotion comes over us, right? We don't think about it, it just comes through. And then the voice follows that, right? When you're truly pissed off, you can yell, right? And it's so supported. Yeah. So, and then how do you do that for 4 hours? That's the game.
Also, can
That's
I
how we get
just
make the
point
big bucks.
out that you genuinely almost gave Jeffrey a heart attack?
What that's so because I said asshole or because you thought something happened?
He thought something happened.
Oh, acting.
And just add to that one thing, Kelsey, don't think you have to go straight to it. Like if you were just like take your time to get into the character. Like my wife and I have had to run around to get to the point where I've just fought a battle. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, give me a sec, and then you literally run around so so you can even get there that way. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
no one's you get a 2 hour, you hear 10 to noon, right? But it's like they're gonna wait for the good performance. You don't have to go straight into the line. You can change, get there, and then go into the line. It's like one of those things actors hate silence, right? We just would keep talking, and then there's a silence, and we feel like it's an hour long silence, even though it's 10 seconds. Just get over that because it's get there on your own time.
And with that in mind, you will be collaborating, and voiceover sessions go really freaking fast. I did a World of Warcraft session with JB Blanc, and it was like, okay, we got these characters, we got this much time. Let's keep it going. So you need to be able to do it. Yeah, there's something else I was just gonna say, but I forgot. So good story, Tish. Yeah. If it comes back, I will remember it. Cool. What else? What's the next question?
All right, Frank P, come on in.
Hey, Jay, thank you so much for spending your morning here with us.
My
Um,
pleasure.
so I always sound like this, and I was just curious how long it took for you to find your like authentic voice. Because I used to work for the phone company, and people would be like, "Are you a robot?" No, I just sound like this every moment of my day. So that's why I was curious how long it took for you to find your like authentic you. Because even for me, I still struggle with not sounding like that guy who's here to bring you this. So I was just curious how long it took for you to find that in you.
I actually took, are we allowed to say other classes when we're in the Video Dojo?
It's
I
part of
took
your training.
Kalmanson and Kalmanson's like signature class to find your signature voice. And that was really eye-opening and helpful. And that was one of the first classes I ever took. And they have a really good, like, your signature voice class. And then it's just, you kind of got to listen to yourself when you talk to friends out in a bar and stuff. Like, you have to be self-aware of how you talk to other people and like make sure you're bringing that into, even though you put a microphone in front of you, you just can't just start performing. And it took me 3 years to learn how to not perform in front of a microphone, and just talk the way we're talking right now. It literally took me a long time to figure out how to like, because every time the mic went in, I performed a little, and even performing a little into a microphone sounds like you're performing the whole entire thing. So like, it's who's the voice people say you sound like?
Don LaFontaine was the name people would say.
Really? That one? What about just your normal talking voice? Because it comes to mind and I can't put my finger on it. Name starts with a B. Uh,
Michael Buffer,
no, you played Tarzan once.
Brandon,
Yes, that guy.
the
Frasier?
whale,
Yeah,
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser.
Fraser.
Yeah.
He's got your voice. So go listen to, I mean, watch movies with Brandon Fraser and see how he talks normal, because that is
Yeah.
literally how you talk normal. Like as you're talking to me, I'm like, that's the guy from Tarzan.
Oh,
But yeah, he can't help but have that performative voice. But that has it affected his career? Nope. Um, you watch him in The Whale, because he goes from the voice we always know, and he brings it way down. I mean, talk about just taking the voice that everyone thinks is performative, Tarzan and all that stuff, and like he's big at event, and then he brings it down to conversational reality, and he gets you. So it's like, take a look at the people that your voice kind of resonates with, not Don LaFontaine because he just did that one thing, but like, um, the actors that are out there that have your voice print. Like mine was Steve Buscemi and a few other people. Like I just had the voice print of those people. So like just watching movies, I can kind of gauge where my natural signature thing happened. And I'm from Boston, so like I'm able to like, I guess, put little. I do like. Oh, you're hearing what I'm doing anyway. Like the way that I'm talking has a certain way that I like
yeah.
say things, and that's like you got to hone in on that certain way you say things when you're not performing.
Yeah.
I,
And
yeah.
I think it goes back to vulnerability too, right? Because you have a voice, everyone has a voice print, right? And then we have um things when we are vulnerable and when we're super empowered too, right? So I think there's a layer of that, Frank, of, just how are you relaxed? And then also, if you do sound like All Might all the time, then that's like an awesome superpower too, and not everybody can do that. So just because we're opening up more of what else, and how do we really connect with you? We don't connect with robots. That's why they're robots, right? But we do connect with you, Frank P. He's awesome. What a great guy, right? So when you do that, it makes it so we can't exchange that vibrational energy. We don't feel anything because it just seems like, oh, well, that's all perfect and wrapped in plastic. Okay. So I think it's about letting us in, as well as what are you projecting out. Um, and some people are just more formal. David Niven was just a sort of that's an oldie time reference. That's a super oldie time reference. But there's some people who just have a propriety about them, right? And that's their thing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't just keep on opening up to all the parts that are you, because and when are you authentic? When are you feeling authentic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the
Yeah.
hardest things for us actors to do is literally nothing. We always want to perform, put a little juice on something, put a little like, and once you realize that what you do every day, the thing that makes people want to become your friend and hang out with you, is the thing that will book you the most work, right? Just your natural charisma that you have a life that you grew up to this age that you are now, and there's a whole world that you can pull from that no one else can. When you do little improvs and stuff like that, pull them from your real life, because then no one else will ever do that improv. If you've got a special mug in your cabinet of mugs that like nobody else has, and then there's mug in this like the commercial copy has like referencing a mug, reference your mug specifically, and no one else will have that improv. It'll stick out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Good question,
Thank you,
Frank.
Jay. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next? Kelsey?
Okay. Alex, come on up and say your last name for me. That's a cool last name.
Hi, everybody. Oh, get this up going again. Last name is Lazat.
Mazat.
Yes. And Jay, thank you for being here, fellow East Coaster.
Yeah, how's it going? Nice.
Pretty good, dude. How are you?
I'm good. Just got back from the Packy.
Excellent. Okay, so my question, I'll try to be brief. Kind of switching gears into more of a commercial world. For commercial VOs, if the client is kind of looking for like I feel like I've been seeing a lot more like relaxed, laid back reads. How do I approach those, or like how do we as actors approach that without it dipping too into like a vocal fry setting? Because at least like that's what my ear has been picking up on. And I don't know if it's just something where I need to recalibrate my ear and my energy with how to approach it. So figured I'd ask you and Tish, you as well, and anybody else who could answer the question. So thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you're saying just put your question in one sentence.
Okay.
Mm.
So I can wrap my brain.
Okay. Um, for approaching commercial VOs, how do I calibrate my ear to not hear relaxed reads as vocal fry?
That's how, because like I have vocal fry,
Mhm.
and when directors are like, "Oh, could you turn off that fry?" I'm like, "Nope." Like, I
Gotcha.
knew it. Sorry, I have it. I can. But the way you're talking right now, like just
Mhm.
to us not performing, is
Mhm.
like that's your natural conversational voice. Like it's simple. Like let the microphone do the hard work. So when it comes to laid back conversational commercial reads, turn the
Mhm.
gain up and
Okay.
then talk quieter than you expect. Talk as if you're in a little place and you don't really want the people next to you to hear what you're saying, but you're talking to your friend like really close to you. And then let the gain do the hard work. You'll find that if you turn the gain up on your microphone and just chill, talk like super quiet in your booth, like almost nobody can hear you really because that's how you're talking. And then you
Right.
go back and listen, you'll be like, that is so real, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. And it's like,
Okay.
because your voice, the way you're talking right now is like, well, all you need to do is turn your gain up and just talk to that one person and be really interested in what you're saying and know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like I know that it's like you have the different thought processes, of course, the perspectives. Like I just found out about this incredible pillow and I sleep really well. Or it's like I have been sleeping so well with this pillow, I've had it for 10 years. It's like I either just found out about it or I've had it
Mhm.
for 10 years. Regardless, I'm a new expert and I'm in love with this pillow and I want everyone in the world to sleep the way I sleep, which is great. Whatever the product is, it's like you either came at it, you've just found it, you just found it. Like that's amazing. And I love that. And it's like all the different levels you can do just based on your perspective of whatever the brand thing is that you're selling.
And
And
notice that Jay's kind of I think part of your signature, Jay, is that you're kind of laid back. Like you had like you're like, yeah, let's see what's going on. You're like, and the other thing that is also an essence of Jay is that he's deeply involved and super engaged. So laid back doesn't mean unenergized.
Mhm.
You have energy coming through laid back. It's just a laid back energy, right? And then in terms of vocal fry, just you can kind of feel it.
Mhm.
Like if I'm just laid back, but then I go like lay back, it's like a placement of like I can't even bother to lift the back of my throat to I'm so laid back. That's all vocal fry is, right?
Okay.
Um yeah, and then it seems like it seems like your energy is like just trust your voice. Um I said like an Australian. Trust your voice because you have a laid back look, you have a laid back vibe, and then also it seemed like when you were like getting everything together and on the spot to ask your question, you could also take that into not laid back, like it could go like, hey man, what's going on, right? So you have both of those things, but just trust when you're just
Mhm.
shrugging your shoulders is a thing. So like, yeah,
Okay.
it's just a thing. And also, in the same way that Jay just asked you to distill your question,
Mhm.
sometimes when we're overthinking, like, how do I calibrate exactly how when I go into vocal fry or not to vocal fry? Because I notice that what's on the air is vocal fry. And on one hand, if what you're hearing on the air is vocal fry, then maybe that's what people are equating with laid back, right? So then how do you explore what, putting a little fry into your voices? Or maybe it might be the opposite. No, take it
Mhm,
completely out. We want none of that. And to be able, so that's where the calibration is.
mhm,
Like being able to play a trumpet clearly or put the mute in, right?
mhm, mhm,
Yeah.
Also for you, Alex, and for everybody, just food for thought is that specs, you don't know who created the specs. It could have been a group of 10 people, everyone putting their like 2 cents in. Sometimes specs are all over the spectrum. They're not specific. And then sometimes it's just one person who didn't say anything the whole meeting and was like, "Oh, can we make sure there's no vocal fry?" So like me and my wife both have vocal fry, and like it's one of our things. And we have booked so many things that said no vocal fry. So don't let specs get in the way of your storytelling. Like that's the most important thing. Like you being truthful and honest to the brand is far and above the important thing over the specs.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Good
awesome.
question. Good question.
Thank you very much.
Who's next? Kelsey?
All right. We've got another lovely VO Dojo team member with a question. Lissa, I'll be speaking for her because she's dual tasking at work. She's making that dollar count. What beyond talent do you feel an aspiring voiceover actor needs to book work and consistently book work?
Okay, one more time. One more time. Say that again.
What beyond talent do you feel an aspiring voice actor needs to book work and then consistently keep booking work?
Besides talent,
Mm-hmm.
live your life the way you want to live it. That's what you need to do. Me and my wife go on adventures all the time, wine country, hiking, anything. The happier we are, the more stuff we book. The more times we go out and we have adventures and we can come back with stories to tell. So if you just spend your whole time inside a booth and go nowhere, you're literally have nothing to pull from as far as like life experience. So go experience life, be the real 100% you, and then your storytelling and voice acting and all of that will improve magically.
Yeah. And then, that's basically what we do at the dojo. What are all the things that you need to do? Well, there's a lot of things you need to do. You need to have that spark. You need to have the spark. You need to keep it in like a special eternal flame holder because it's going to have to go through a lot, and there's going to be things that will blow on it, and so you have to keep that spark of why you love this and what you want to do with it, and then let it open and grow. And then I think you need to you need to um, create consistency. You need to understand need to understand what the world of voiceover is, what the requirements are, what and then how, once you understand those things, how do you deliver those things? And it's just like anything else. Like, what besides talent does it take to become a professional ballerina or a professional baseball player? Or like you gotta do the things, be able to stand and deliver. Um, I think that there's a place. Um, I think in terms of if you compare to musicians, right? What we like to say when people are ready to make their demo, that they're sufficient enough musicians and understand the realm of what they're making the demo in enough that you could go into a demo session and like have it be like a jam session, right? Because that's all a voiceover session is. Like, hi, let's play. Here's these words. You say them, we'll pay you. But what we bring to that is just a total jam session. Let's see. Oh, is this aligned with where we're going? Okay, a little adjustment. Okay, great. But coming to play, and that takes, I love hearing Jay's story because it's a process of becoming, and then it becomes a process of stamina and staying on the trail and not getting discouraged as little things come, embracing those, so it's the internal training, it's the understanding what the game is, it's the developing the skills, it's applying those consistently, and then you have the whole other realm of becoming a good entrepreneurial business person, which is a whole nother ball of wax. But all of it is goes back to Jay. How are you building a great life that you love through this medium of voiceover and through this business of voiceover? And yeah, so I think, yeah, it's that easy. Just do it.
Also, don't bring your crap into the booth. Make the booth like a safe space, right? And what I don't mean is like, obviously you have clothes and you can put crap in the booth, but don't bring your personal crap in the booth. I am a big firm believer that like anything that's going on with your life that could affect how you feel will come across into your microphone. Easy peasy. So like if you're having a shitty day, probably gonna have a whole bunch of shitty reads. So like don't bring them into the booth.
Yeah. Two things that we say at the dojo. First of all, the foundation of everything we do is voiceover is communication. Communication is an exchange of vibrational energy. That's it. So if you're like inside, that there's something that's going to come through about that on some level. And then the second rule of the dojo is leave your inner critic outside the booth. And we have a practice called create your Zen bubble. Like, this is like my little spaceship, this is like, okay, and whoosh, everything else goes away. What is going on with this coffee I need to sell, or hospital that needs some people to come to it, or like what is it that's going on? And then you walk out and all the crap's there still. So
Pick it up a little.
it's all still there. Yeah. Good. Cool. We got a couple more minutes. Maybe before we finish, we can talk about how to keep in touch with everybody. How do people keep in touch with you, Jay, and all the good things that you are about?
Sure. Since I'm not on social media, don't message me there. I'll be I'm an email kind of guy now. So it's jay@jaypreston.com, jay@jaypreston.com. That's the one I'll respond to fastest. So if you have any questions there, I do one-on-one coaching through Skills Hub now. So if anyone's a member of Skills Hub or anything like that, it's $2.22 a minute. But it's where I can pretty much keep my track of my schedule and update it easily. And it's a really nice platform for me. It works really well. So that's where that is. I created with Tim Friedlander and Brad Venable, the VO Weekly Workout. It's an incredible use of $20. We have all year planned every year, and it's every 2 weeks we have a new director, from agents to cast neuters to people like Tish. And so that's great. VOweeklyworkout.com. The VORG is like the little handbook. I remember when I first got into voiceover, I was at the Voicecaster and they had a whole stack of VORGs, and I was like, what is this voiceover? I want to be a voice. And I picked it up and I got agents out of it. I found teach workshops out of it. I found recording studios that I could go and say hi to and see if they had a roster. So we've created it now, and it covers New York, LA, and Chicago. The website covers the rest of the world. So I think Kelsey put all the links on there. And then the VoiceOver Collective, I update that front page every month. So anything that I think is super important, it's always on the front page of the VoiceOver Collective. So I would just say at least once a month, give it a check. There are equipment bundles on the equipment page that are like super discounted. If you're like just getting started and you're like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on voiceover equipment, there's like bundles that are super discounted that I create. I don't make any money on them. I just found a company that would create bundles at a super great rate, and I put them there at the equipment page. So check that out. Get on the newsletters. And that's how you can stay in touch.
Yeah, and here at the dojo, if you're just starting out, we have You should do voiceover launchpad. We're enrolling for April now. Great way to get started. Or if you've been on your journey and you've been on your journey by yourself and want to like re-anchor and go here, how can I re-anchor? Great place to go. If you're on your journey already, touch base with a VOO, a voiceover once over. You can talk with Jeffrey and we'll get a sense of where you're at and where you'd like to be. We have our full training program called From Mystery to Mastery that we meet you where you are, take you where you want to be. And then we also have our whole working pro division, which is called the nth degree, because you earn your black belt and then you go into nth degree. And then we also have our VO Dojo Pro fight clubs 3 times a month, which is an amazing way to keep connected with it's high caliber talent or top-notch talent that come together with the high caliber decision makers who hire us in different genres. So a fantastic way if you're not demo repped and booking, which is the criteria to play, then come be a spectator and watch what's happening on both sides of the glass. But either way, come join us and check it out because we're here to support you. So yeah, and let's. I think we have a few minutes. How's your time, Jay? You said you might need to roll.
So far, so good.
Okay, so we'll take another question or two. We'll do a like official stop at 11, and then we can take a couple more questions if we have them. A little encore questions. So, who's next?
Thomas has another question. Come on up, Thomas.
Yes, I returned for a second question. It's slightly off topic, but I guess not really. What acting methods did you learn while you were studying theater?
When you go to college to study theater, they pretty much teach you all the little methods, and some you like and some you don't like. And so like what I learned was like I could memorize way quicker than I ever thought I could. Like I can get off book pretty quick. And I had my own way of getting off book. I would take all of my lines in a play and I would just type them out and I would learn all my lines in a row. And then I wouldn't kind of not know what was going to be said to make me say the word anyway. So that's like my little technique. It's like I had the bones of what I was going to say. And then when I was on stage, people would say stuff and look at me and I was like, oh, that must be my next line. And it kind of worked. And then as far as I take it into voiceover, it's like I look at the scripts as just bones of what you're going to say. It's like, and then you can add all the little personalisms in there, like the things that you do every day and the little improv. It just I don't rush to the next line just because it's written there. You know what I'm saying? As far as like scripts go. So I'm not a methody actor. Is that if you were going in that direction? I don't do that stuff. I just learn my lines and I do this part. But I did learn improv was the thing that was the kicker for me. So once I got good at improv and I was kind of a natural at it as a kid, and it's just so much fun. I just related it to like Bugs Bunny, and Bugs Bunny grabs something like he has always got a sack behind him full of like you never see it, but he can always like reach behind him and pull out an anvil or anything he needs. And it's like I've always had that in my brain. It's like whatever I needed was reachable. So I could always improv. You know what I mean? Like Bugs Bunny and what's the guy with the mustache?
Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, somebody, like, that when they fight, it's like a gun, a cannon, this. Like they just kept getting a plane from behind me. It's like nothing was out of reach. So, I've always kept that going for my whole lifetime of acting.
Yeah, when I was in acting school, they like hounded like Uta Hagen, for example, and like she was like the acting Jesus. So like I was just wondering if there was any one person.
See, but here's the thing about any kind of Jesus that you're going to choose to follow. You have to see what there is a methodology. There is a way that you can do it. But I've found like I went to Northwestern and studied theater, and there was a lot of different approaches there. But it's like, gosh, you learn that methodology, and then and then all the methodologies that you expose yourself to. So learn it, learn how it works, and sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't, right?
Yeah, I'll piggyback
The
off
song
that
in
too,
chorus line. Yeah, go ahead.
because every one of us is looking for the aha moment or the mentor to follow. And it's like, that's why I kept going to different classes and workshops. It's like waiting for the person to be like, that's my person. That's who I want to learn. It's the person who says the things the way you need to hear them. And so like the whole journey of learning is like finding the person that says the things the way you need to hear them, that click. And then you just learn everything you can from them. Like the best improv book for me was Nick Napier or Rick Napier. It's called Improvise. Yeah,
As Mhm.
that one spoke to me. And then True and False by David Mamet was the book that I was like,
Yeah,
read those other books. This was the one I needed. You know, it's
yeah.
like it all depends on what resonates with you.
Yeah, and so ultimately, Thomas, we study. This is my take on it is we study different methodologies because we're creating our own methodology. That's the only reason. It's not like anyone goes like, "Hey, how did you prepare for this?" Like, "Oh, I'm a bona fide. I only do things like Uta Hagen did." No, there's things so it's really anything that you expose yourself. How are you creating your own methodology?
Yeah, the only reason there's any rules in improv is because somebody sat down and watched an improv show that sucked once and wrote down all the reasons why that improv show sucked. Because if it was a great improv show and everyone was laughing, there wouldn't be time to write down anything. So the reason like rules exist is because something they were like, I know why that didn't work. Well, that didn't, because every rule can be broken in improv. So it's just like the only reason there are books about it is because somebody took the time to discern what didn't work on this not funny improv show.
Yeah, and sometimes something works for somebody else, except Morales, right? The chorus line song. Um, so yeah, good.
Thank you.
Real quick, everybody, this has been a lot of fun. I know we said top of the hour, so if you have to hop off, understand. We'll have copy to the replay. Real quick, while we're all together, it'd be awesome to do a screenshot. If you want to, if you could come on, turn on your video so we can see your lovely faces, and we'll do a quick hold and a quick pose. So I'll give it a second for everybody to. I'm loving the energy already. Okay, so here we go. We got us all on one screen. So, pick a pose, give your best acting dramaturg pose, shall we say. 3, 2, 1. Thanks, everybody.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, if you do have to roll, thank you for being here. We're here the first Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So put it on your calendar, and if you can't make it one day, you can listen to the replay as podcast. And do we have a few other questions, Kelsey?
No, we pretty much got through all of them.
Okay.
Some off.
Anything else burning yearning? That's good.
I had a question.
Yeah, cool. And
Another.
while Kelsey's asking her question, we would love to have everyone who's still here in the chat share your dojo that's something we do at the dojo every time we gather. Always so many amazing, brilliant things are opened up. What was one thing that came through today that made you go, oh, or oh, or oh? Distill it and put it in the chat. So we call those the dojo O's. So what's your question, Kelsey?
Jay, I wanted to know, I really love asking this question because it just warms my heart to see people's like eyes light up. What projects have been really special to you and why? Which ones, when you look back, you feel like really you connected with?
You know, hold on, give me.
He's got to go to his thinking room.
I was just noticing the stark contrast between my black void and Jay's intricate steampunk background. Yeah. Oh, I think he might be.
Just had to go see what my favorite thing was. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I have that's a good question because of this one reason is I was so stoked when I booked my first voiceover thing, right? And then I was so stoked when I booked my second one, and then it just kept going and just kept getting more and more stoked every time. And then I'll share this quick little story. I think I put the story with us, Tish, in the 21 questions. But anyway, it's so great that I the first time I was ever at WB Studios, I was like, you know, you see the water tower and you're like, well, you want to go right away. You want to like take the tour and stuff. But I was like, no, I want to work there first. I'm not going in until I work. I did the same thing with Jim Henson Studios too. It's like I'm a huge Muppets fan, but I was like, first time there, I want to be working. So I got a gig at one of my first big video game things, big for me. And I go and I park right under the water tower, and I'm like, because the audio studio is right to the right of the water tower, and I was like, I was like over the moon, right? And it just little parts, but at that point in my career, there was like it was awesome because it was 3, 4 characters in this video game, and afterwards I was like, I'm gonna go get a celebratory beer. So I went to the Fat Dog in North Hollywood, and oh my God, Charlie Adler was there. And Charlie Adler is like one of the guys who, when I was on my journey of like learning stuff, he was one of the ones that I was like, this guy talks the way I like to learn. He's crass. He's like no nonsense. So he was one of my idols. And he's there by himself. And I walk in and it was, hey, Charlie, hey. And he goes, how you doing? I was like, I'm like really excited. And then I was like, wait a second, it's Charlie Adler. I shouldn't be that excited about this thing. And I was like, well, it's just a little part. And he goes, nah. He like watched me as I was like saying that this was not as cool as I thought. He's like, don't ever. He's like, the reason you're doing this is because that's the thing you just enjoyed the most. Like, be happy about it, tell people about it, enjoy it the most. And so ever since then, I've liked every job I've ever gotten. With that said, and I think everyone should, if you're not enjoying everything, you should get out of the business. But with that said, when I've booked Wasteland 3, it was like a really fun character. I've always wanted to do Red Dead Redemption stuff. So like I played all of the first Red Dead Redemption, and there was like this crazy character in Red Dead, the first one, that I was like, I want to do stuff like that. Well, I got to in the second one. Like the character that is in the second one like is a fun one. But then the Wasteland character is like the one I wanted to do. So I booked like the Wasteland brother, who like we do this whole monologue and I had a blast, and then I realized that was the monologue was the end of my character. Like the monologue, and then he gets shot and his head blows off, and like, and that was it. It was just like one monologue, and it was like I was like, I've been waiting forever for this game, but I was like so stoked I got it. And then apparently they had so much fun with me in that one session with that one monologue that they wanted me to do his brother, which is a much bigger part, which was very cool. So it's like that was one of my favorite moments. And then through that game was like I was talking about earlier, you get other characters. While I was in sessions, I keep getting thrown other characters, and one of them is this like little nerdy Irv guy, and he creates robots, and he's like super nerdy, and I developed him during the session, and he became one of my favorite characters. And then when I worked at the Medieval Manor, I had a character called Squint, and he talked like this, and he had a squint, and he was kind of weird, and so I've always wanted to put him in a game, and like. So I just, for fun, I was like, can we make some of his like robots kind of sound like that? And they thought they weren't going to do it. They didn't think it was going to like land because it's kind of, you know, iffy. Well, they made the game, so all these like robots walking around in Wasteland 3 is like, so that game itself has so much of like what I liked. And then the next one is that I just booked the hand of the Lefty from Hamburger Helper in December. So I'm like, I'm the new voice of Lefty, and like so that is very, very, very exciting, and that's the most recent exciting one. And there's another exciting one, but it's coming out this year, and I'm stoked to be a part of it. It's a reboot of something. So when that comes out, I'm gonna be hopping up and down.
Cool, cool, cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Is that a clue, Jay? Hopping up and down?
No, it's a
No, he's
I
just
can't
gonna
say
give you
anything
that.
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And for me, I've been really, really blessed to have really super long running campaigns. So I was a voice of Citibank for like 7 years, and I've been one of the voices for Subaru for going on 14 years now. So every month I'm just like blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So just that's been a super powerful thing. That's built a career. So yeah, cool. Got some good Dojo O's here. Excellent. Um, yeah. Um, do we want to take a minute to share them out loud? I think sometimes saying them out loud is a good thing.
Yeah.
And then we can
I can go in
wrap up.
order.
Yeah.
Zoe, tell us your Dojo O.
All right, my Dojo O is remembering to put me into the character. Because as simple as that sounds, I try to stray from my natural voice like pretty often because I'm like, why would people just want to hear me? But I feel like that's like such a fundamental to voice acting is realizing that like putting you into those characters is why people chose you in the first place. So
Yeah. Good. Good to see that
I hated
empowerment.
my voice, hated it. And then I became a voice actor and I was like, I gotta listen to it all the time now. I had to learn to like it.
Yeah, I think that is a threshold sometimes. Sometimes, yeah. And then the opposite might be I love my voice. Oh, I love my voice. My voice is so my voice. And people who are on that end of the spectrum have to like come out of that too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Frank P.
Cool.
Yeah, without a doubt, Tish, I do like the sound of my own voice, but definitely trying so hard to not put any extra spice on it because then it sounds like you're working too hard instead of just doing some hard work. And that's what I really would like to focus on. So that was my O for today. So thank you, Jay. Thank you, Tish.
Yeah. And remove try and remove sound like and just be. Just be. Have a bowl of cereal. Well, that's it. No big deal. Yeah, cool. What else?
Thomas.
My Dojo O is let the situation inform the character. It's not always about making funny voices. Also, a little add-on because specifically you said that you have a background in theater. Stop performing into the mic because it can always pick it up, and I have that habit, and I do it so often still. I keep projecting into the mic. It's so annoying. But yes.
It's just different sports though, Thomas. It's the same thing, but it's just different sports,
Yeah.
right? So if you're training on a daily basis because that's what you're at college for, and you're training for theater, then you're training to do that sport, and this is just a different sport, right? So it's all the same stuff, but just how do you do it? How do you play it? You're still an excellent athlete, um, but it's just a different sport.
I gotta
So
stop playing basketball on the soccer field.
yeah, or whichever metaphor works for you. Yeah. What else? What
Thank you.
else? Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Hello. My Dojo O was just, to remember to just keep taking classes from just everywhere. Like I think Jay and like Tish, when you mentioned, like for one person, we're gonna get completely different experiences or O's in those courses. And yeah, we just gotta do it all, listen to everything, read everything,
Mhm.
just to keep getting better at this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta be well-rounded. And I think, you know, homeschool people, not that they're not great, but they're not as well-rounded as people who go and learn from all the different teachers in elementary school and middle school and high school and 19, 20 different teachers throughout your life can
Mm.
mold you more than just one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think at the dojo we create that place for foundations to be laid so you have the way to go through the journey together, but we're here to facilitate you opening up to you. So we're here to be the through line, and then we're also like and let us introduce you to these people and so yeah, good. Oh, what else?
Um, I just want to add, I think that's such a good point because I've had something said to me multiple times, but then that one coach just says it that exact way that you need to hear it in order to understand it. Next we have Alex.
Alex.
Hi again.
Mhm.
So my Dojo O is for relaxed reads. Let the mic and game do a lot of the heavy lifting and then get a lot more, I guess for me, just get a lot more personal than I initially think to be. So I'm Yeah, that's a huge one. So it just lets me, stay more here and focus on what the message is.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. What else? Any other Dojo O's?
And that's it. That's all she
Hey,
wrote.
It's like
awesome.
you all were listening the whole time. It was amazing.
Yeah, great to hear your voices in the room. Great to have you here, even if we didn't hear your voices. Hope you got a lot of things that you can take out into the week and are inspiring and you can activate. And yeah, look forward to sign up for a voiceover once over. Would love to meet you and hear where you're at and where you'd like to be. And thank you guys. Thank you, Kelsey, and thank you, Jeffrey, and thank you, Jay, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was a long time coming. Glad we did it.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys in the next time. Thanks so much. Bye.